My name's Connor. I'm the CEO and founder of Interpreter Intelligence, and very excited to be here today to chat with Crystal, who was our very first customer on this journey. So look forward to the conversation, Crystal.
Hi, Connor. I'm Crystal, and for those that know me, I run Translation.ie. It's a company in Ireland. We mainly provide interpretation service. So very luckily, we are able to work with Interpreter Intelligence. So here we are, 10 years on. It's been a fantastic time.
Crystal and my brother, they're both involved in, well, Crystal's the founder of Translation.ie and my brother's involved in the operational side. They had mentioned to me a number of times through the years that they were doing everything in-house and that they had a need for some, software skills to build something for their needs. And that was really the first time I became aware of the industry. And then fortunately, I was in a personal situation that I could then dedicate some time to actually building a piece of software for those guys as our first customer. But Crystal, do you remember how it came about?
Yes, the big deal was, once we were over like 30 jobs a day, we know we need somewhere to organize it, and we have been outgrowing Microsoft Outlook calendar, which what we're using at the time, and then we've been approached Connor for a number of years to do this until he was available. So, and the important thing, we wasn't able to getting a software. It's interesting because if you spoke to an IT guy, most of the time they ask you more or less sort of draw them a map of what you need, okay? And they can write the code according to your map. So you need to be able to clearly express what you need for them to write exactly what you make a software of what you need. But we didn't know how to write out in the IT language so what we need. And therefore, we wasn't able to do it until Connor did it.
So I actually located back in Ireland for about a period of 6 months. I remember working from the Translation.ie office for that period. Crystal was very good to offer her office to me, but I would use that office as the sort of control center, and I'd be working with the employees, getting the requirements, building the software, getting it in front of them in a very iterative way. For probably a period of about 6 months, and I was coming back and forth here to California at the time as well. And I think the courts were the first, court service in Ireland were the first customer that we were getting up and running on it. So I remember working with some of the staff, some of the scheduling staff, figuring out the locations and how we're going to import that data, and then getting some early versions in front of people to use. And I know that was, that change for folks was different because we were building the product from scratch. So they were coming from Microsoft Outlook, from Excel, from Microsoft Calendar. So all of those independently are difficult to replace. So, we had to build enough features up in the core product to make it useful for people. So definitely there was a transition for a period of a number of months as people became used to the new product and had to sort of drop their old ways of doing things. So that was probably a transition that Crystal had to manage.
Well, actually, from what I remember, the transition period, that was, now you're talking about the first draft of the software, was fantastic since the beginning, really. I remember my team we were delighted with it, overjoyed with it. We have no hesitation to replace our lovely Excel with, we replace Interpreter Intelligence of our Excel bookings. So, and then we did push out to courts, which is called, of course, because in Ireland, they're a small country as Ireland, we still have about 10,000 court service staff. I remember that we offered technical support for court staff for about a month, and that's around the country. And to this date, they, we had very little since the initial push out of bringing people onto the system. We had very little issue with clients of the system.
And I remember, do you remember you brought me to one of the prisons? Actually, I think it was the I don't remember the name of the prison. Anyway, it's where the court service for Clover Hill. Yeah, Clover Hill. We went in to see some of the staff there one of the early days, and I remember sharing with them, an early version of the product and getting their feedback and stuff. So it was pretty exciting to see that come to fruition, and for me to be able to see your customers and how you interact with your customers as well was a neat part of the package. So we weren't just building software; we were actually interfacing with the customer.
And of course, a tremendous amount of work has invested from your end. Therefore, you know, even the first draft, the product, finished product to our side was really well. It was everything we wanted. And I remember for years after that, every time we wrote a state tender, we were able to say, listen, we built this custom feature tailor-made for the core service of Ireland. And of course, go down really well, you know. So, well, I won the tender, so they must like it. We basically have the contract for almost the entire Irish legal system. We are the sole service provider for the court service of Ireland for all language nationwide, for all the police work, all the legal aid board work, at the moment, all Department of Social Protection work, all the residential tenants board, ombudsman for finance and pension service, and so you name it. So we almost have everything. So it would, without the system, if we were today still in Microsoft Excel, I don't think we'll be in the same place. The system is bigger and better than ever, but the truth is bigger and better than ever dreamed for. And the first draft back in 2011 was fantastic, and I never dreamed any more of it. And now it's become of more like it's become such a complete system. It become nearly a pastime to go in and have a look to see what it can do now. And but if it fulfilled every requirement we have. Ireland is small. We still have about 5,000 interpreters, database of 5,000 interpreters. And we have lots of clients, and every client has different needs and different requirements. And all this information required to be stored in the interpreter manager's head. So therefore, if one person left, the company will be a huge less, and it will be a huge effect to the standard of service we will provide to our clients. And therefore, it's a huge fear for me as a business owner to make sure staff turnover is the biggest threat. Then since we have the system, all this information are affecting the system. And therefore, now using interpreter managers a matter of a choice, a luxury rather than a necessity. And if our interpreter manager walk away, it doesn't affect the system because all he or she knows already in the system. The really reason we now use interpreter managers is to combine the intelligence of a human intelligence of what we know about our clients, of our interpreter in a personal level, to the 100% correct system information about the client and the interpreter, and making the best possible combination and therefore provide the best service possible. Lots of our bookings are last minute, and when you have a booking the last minute, you depend on geographic knowledge of interpreter managers of the client required location, and your knowledge of every interpreter is at this moment of time over their leave, where they work, and then make the best match at the moment. So we interpret intelligence would have a map. So you assign the job, you put the job in, you assign the job, you open the map and show the dots where the job is and where your interpreter is. And if you collect the interpreter, they show you who this interpreter is and what is he like. And if you collect another person, they give you a history of the job he did. So function like this make everybody can do the job. So if one of my interpreter managers is sick, you can come in and do the job just as good as they are, because system give you all the information the interpreter manager will not otherwise have. As a business person, I'm always conscious of make sure all my suppliers are paid, all my interpreters are paid, and that's easily stated, it's not easily done because we use 5,000 interpreters. In a monthly basis, we use 500 interpreters. And at the moment with the system, at the end of the month, we can produce a list of the all 500 people we used, who did how much work and how much is supposed to be paid for. And that's a clear list and we can work from. And then turn it around with the exactly same data, we can flip through and the bill client make sure every job is billed. And before that, before we had a system, we wasn't able to do that. So money is the key thing. And so David gave us an effective cash flow, and those are the things make a difference. Consider now it's the COVID. And so because we have the system, we're all able to work from home. And I have a COVID child at home, and so it doesn't affect my ability to work, which without the system wouldn't be possible. So we were able to protect all our employees. They can work and continue our service with the system. We can tell the Department of Health and Courts in Ireland, we were able to provide our interpreter 99.9% and in the COVID. So largely it's because, because we have a good team, but the team had a system to rely on. 10 years passed by, and I didn't realize it was 10 years. So now look at this, and I was asked the question, how this thing has been, and I think, so I have looked through the emails, and sometimes without a moment of break, and Sorry.
That's okay.
And I actually looked through the record, and I just realized how much of a help, apart from the system is built, and we consider extremely lucky to have the system. We really did. But I think apart from the, you guys have a lot of customers, a lot of clients, of course. As a system, you can live off as one client. But I think it was worth mentioning. I don't think I've never spoke to you as business owner about it. The support we got from your team was really. I was thinking, apart from translation.ie, and I have never expect anybody get any service in this level as we got from Interpret Intelligence. And that really is, there was lots of names and lots of people. I don't know how your company is structured. I don't know who is responsible to answer those questions. And then we have we have also lots of questions in the past, and every time we ask questions, of course, because we're in a difficult spot, right? And it's either we need some sort of things technical things we don't understand for tender, for technical things, and client all of a sudden they are under pressure from their higher manager looking for a custom-made report. But every time we ask something, we always got really quick response, and your staff always give us more information than we needed. That level of support, really, I don't think you can expect from Microsoft or anywhere. So looking back, we really appreciate it, and that means the world to us.
Well, thank you, Crystal. That's very good. Credit to the support team, Dolores, Julie, and Elena. So, but thanks for bringing that up. It's very important. And I will say, from our perspective, Crystal, it's been a pleasure to have worked with you guys for so long. 10 years, time flies. It's crazy that 10 years has passed. It seemed like it doesn't seem that long ago that we started on it. You guys were a great customer all along, and very privileged to be able to work with you guys. So much success to your business in the future, and I hope that our partnership continues for many years.
And the same to you. And I really think that you guys certainly put the work in it, and you're expert in your area. You put work in it, and you have been as good as we start with you as a day one. So, and I don't think I wish you luck, but I don't think you need it. But you definitely will be successful, even more successful, should I say? And any language service providers are smart enough to work with you, they are onto a good one. So, thank you for everything.